Hi, I'm Dr. Flora Waples, founder and medical director of Restore Medical Spa. And today we're going to talk about the top 5 questions I get about microneedle radiofrequency or microneedle RF. The first question I get is, how is this different from regular microneedling? And that's a great question and a very important one. So microneedling uses tiny, almost microscopic level needles to make thousands of tiny punctures in the skin, creating this stress in the skin, which the skin responds to by growing new collagen. It's a great treatment. Microneedle RF is when you take that microneedle machine and essentially plug it into a laser. The needles now have heat in them. This is a terrible analogy, but it's the only one I've ever been able to think of. You ever notice what happens when you put a piece of bacon in a pan? It shrinks, right? It goes. The heat causes the collagen to contract. And the same thing is true with our skin, as terrible as that analogy is. When we apply heat to the skin contracts. And when that happens, we can lift jowls, we can lift sagging lids, we can just lift all of our skin up and back and just shrink wrap our faces. I know that that's a terrible phrase, but it's the one that always comes to mind. So is microneedle RF different from regular microneedling? It is, in a very profound and important way. The second question that people ask me is, why do we need this? And it's another great question. The answer is skin aging comes in 3 pieces. Pigment aging is the first piece. That's the browns and reds that we get primarily from UV damage and light. The second piece of the aging process is that surface change. The tone quality and texture change. The pores become more visible. The skin appears rough and dull. All of those require surface lasers to kind of polish the skin and get that glow back. But the third piece of the aging of the skin is skin laxity. What that means is our skin loses the collagen, the elastin, the molecules that keep it cohesive and tight. And when those molecules break down, the skin starts to hang. It gets loose. And we see that primarily along our jawline, our eyelids first. But if you let it go, you look at ladies who are in their 70s and 80s, the skin just hangs off their skin almost like a set of curtains. Microneedle RF is a tool we use to tighten the skin, to treat that laxity. It's not going to give you as much of a surface polish on the skin. It's not necessarily going to go after browns and reds, but it will tighten the skin in a way that nothing else can. It's a wonderful tool for that. The third question that people ask about microneedle RF is, boy, needles attached to a laser? That sounds really painful. That's a fair question. Does it hurt? The answer is if we did not use numbing medication, it would hurt quite a bit. When you come in for your appointment, we'll put numbing medication on your skin. You'll sit with that about 20-30 minutes. If that's not enough to help you feel comfortable during the procedure, we also have Pronox, which is nitrous oxide or laughing gas, the same thing they give people at the dentist. So would this procedure be painful without the appropriate medications and treatments? Yes, it would. But we have numbing medicine and laughing gas to help you feel comfortable during your treatment. The fourth question that people ask me is, well, how many do I need? And the general rule for that is you need 1 for each decade of life. If you're in your 30s, you're going to need 2 to 3. If you're in your 40s, you're going to need 3 to 4. The reason why the number goes up as we get older is because our body becomes less able to respond to stimulus over time. It's like going to the gym. When you're in your 20s, if you go to the gym once a week, you're going to look phenomenal, right? When you're in your 40s, if you want to look good, you better be going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. And if you're in your 60s and you want to still be in good shape, you've got to work out every day. As we get older, our body loses its ability to respond to that stimulus that's saying grow, regenerate. So 1 for each decade of life, you know the answer to that one. And the last question that people ask me about microneedle RF is, when should I start? Generally speaking, this is a treatment that we start recommending to ladies in their 40s, because that's when you really start to see laxity kind of rising up under the skin. However, it's not wrong to start in your 30s. Preventative care is the most profound care we can do. It's much easier to maintain than it is to rebuild. So starting to improve our collagen matrix in our 30s is never wrong. So like with most things in preventative medicine, the answer to the question, when should I start, is now. And those are the top 5 questions that people ask me about microneedling with radiofrequency, also called microneedle RF.